Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Word Podcast, a place where real thoughts, real ideas, and real words come to life. I'm your host, Drew, coming from San Diego, California. This is episode number 8. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, maybe leave a comment, anything like that. It'll really help out the channel, it'll help the growth, so I appreciate it. Before we get started with any topics or anything, I do have a little weed ground up already. I decided to, just buy some because I've been struggling mentally, and probably not the best idea to, spend my money on this, but it really helps calm the mind. So I hit up my dealer, and he gave me a little extra too, so I appreciate that. And it's some nice Gorilla Glue, so I just packed this up, and let's get this morning started. It's 6:30 in the morning, so it's an early start. I've been up for about an hour now or so, and yeah, let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. It's nice Gorilla Glue right there. I got my coffee here as well. Always a good combo. So, let's go. Let's get into it. The first thing I wanted to talk about was that job fair that I went to on Saturday. Let me just preface this with saying, I've always wanted to be in the cannabis industry since I turned 18 and was a patient, and was constantly going to events and trying to listen to panels, and just trying to get my foot in the door, but it seems like you always needed experience. So wasn't ever able to get my foot in that door. So I thought this job fair would be a good opportunity, but I kind of had a feeling it wasn't going to be what it said it was. And when I got there, maybe a few of the booths were really hiring, and the ones that were hiring, you either needed a lot of experience or they were just too far. Because I live in North County and all their stuff was all the way down south, or they were even looking for people in Orange County and LA. So it's I had a feeling it was going to be like that, and more displays just for their business to get more eyes on their business. That's what it felt like to me. And like I said, the ones that were hiring, you just needed a ton of experience or it was just too far. So felt like a waste of time. I did watch one of the panels, which was really cool. Like I said, I've always been interested in it, and it's one of my passions for sure. I love the plant. It's helped me tremendously over the years. Definitely became really habitual more than medicinal. So I've learned that for sure, especially when I took that month off, but I definitely love it. It's helped me a lot, and I will never, not give it its credit because yeah, it's always kind of calmed my mind, but yeah, so watch this panel. It was cool. It actually got me informed on a few places that were up here in North County. So there are some potential, leads and stuff that I can follow up with. But overall, I just kind of felt discouraged when I left and walked away from the event because I felt like it would have been a good opportunity, but honestly, I kind of had a feeling deep down that it wasn't going to be kind of what it said it was. So it is what it is. It still got me out of the house and you know, kept me a little busy for a few hours, so it did its purpose, I guess. Came home, saw a buddy real quick. He was in town, but I already made plans with another friend, so I was just at home real quick. And then I left, went to my other friend's house, and we were watching NXT Worlds Collide. I guess that event was going on. I had no idea, but we were just chilling, going over some real estate stuff, watching the NXT event, which was a pretty good event overall. I mean, I don't really know too many of the wrestlers on that brand, but it was a good event overall. It was I like to joke around with him saying it's like it's the minor leagues, but they put on a good show, but there was one point where one of the guys got completely knocked out with a kick. He got kicked straight in the jaw, and you knew the match wasn't supposed to be over. The ref knew it, and he was going 1, 2, and as he was coming down for 3, he realized the guy was knocked out and not going to be able to kick out. So they adjusted on the fly, and yeah, they still put on a solid match. And like I said, it was a good event all the way through. Is pretty cool. Definitely feels more like wrestling and more in action versus like the regular WWE just kind of has like just a lot of promos, a lot of out of ring storyline stuff that can get old sometimes for sure. But this Worlds Collide event was pretty good. And like I said, we were just going over some real estate stuff, trying to figure out our next game plan. And I think we figured it out. I mean, we have a couple options, but we will figure it out and get something done. And that's the plan. So I'll just touch on this briefly, this whole little thing. Sunday morning, got the news that Kobe Bryant had died alongside his daughter and 7 other people that were in the helicopter. Yeah, it's really sad. It's really, it's a terrible, terrible situation for all those families involved. I personally never, the Lakers were never my favorite basketball team. Like I said, basketball was probably the least amount of sport I watched. Like I watched a bunch of football, watched a lot of baseball growing up. Got into hockey there for a while. And I always kept my eye on basketball, but I never had a team. And that's honestly because there's not a San Diego team, but I guess deep down I would have to go for the Clippers, but I still don't even like watch them. So I never had like a personal like relationship with the idea of Kobe. Like he was just a player, definitely like understood how great he was as a player. I know he had some issues off the court, but from what I'm hearing, I didn't know this at the time, but from what I'm hearing, that got settled out of court. Nothing, happened with those allegations. So I can't really speak on that because that kind of formed my opinion towards him a lot when that happened. But not hearing that it got settled and nothing ever really came of it, then that kind of changes my mind. And, honestly, I can't really speak on it, but I can just say he was a great player, and his death affected a lot of people, and that's what's sad, especially the families. Like I said, it's just terrible for all the families involved. I will say, getting into a little conspiracy side, it's just strange. There was a tweet back in like 2012. Someone said, "Oh, Kobe Bryant's gonna die in a helicopter crash." So that's interesting. After I believe Kobe Bryant made a commercial post basketball career, and in that commercial it shows him like destroying a helicopter and kind of blowing it up and it crashing down. So that's interesting. And then in, I believe, 2016, there was a cartoon and it depicted Kobe Bryant crashing in a helicopter. So I don't know, man. Like when there's too many coincidences, it just doesn't feel like a coincidence anymore. So it's interesting. I know he took the helicopter to, spend more time with his family so he wasn't sitting in traffic. And I understand that. So I understand that it could be, just the joke of him flying in the helicopter. But it's just interesting that, there's a few depictions of helicopter crashes and one person even called it on Twitter. And it happened. So when it's put out there and then it happens, it's just like almost like programming. So, and a terrible thing, Ari Shafir, the comedian, made a terrible joke. When Kobe died, he sent out a terrible tweet, but I guess he's always done this when celebrities die. He'll kind of do something to kind of take a jab at them and just kind of shoot down your heroes. That's kind of what he does, and it just did not go over well, and he got dropped from his talent agency, and from what I read, the New York Comedy Club will no longer be working with them, and he does a lot of work back there from my understanding, and if it's just one club, I get it, it's probably the main club out there, but I'm sure he'll be fine, but it's just, interesting time for sure. He's a comedian. He makes jokes, and now people are taking issue with it. And I understand it wasn't the best joke, and it was kind of terrible timing, but from my understanding, if you look back at his track record, it's kind of been like that. He's kind of done that for a while now. So it just kind of is what it is. You kind of have to take it for a grain of salt because he is a comedian. And you have to understand that. So that's kind of all I'm going to talk about with the whole Kobe Bryant thing. I'm sure there'll be more conspiracy theories coming out and all that kind of stuff. But it is terrible. It is sad for everyone involved. But I do find it interesting that there was those few depictions of the helicopter crash from just as short as a few years back, 4 years back or so. So it's just interesting. And then later on that day, went back to that same buddy's house, picked up my brother, and we went over there and watched the Royal Rumble. A couple other people showed up as well. It was a good time. We were just kind of hanging out, watching the event. Before we go any further, let me take another hit. Let's get this morning feeling good, and then we'll get into that little bit of the Royal Rumble. pack this up. Got that Gorilla Glue. All right. So, we were just hanging out, watching the Royal Rumble. A couple buddies. And, yeah, it was a pretty good event all the way around. I necessarily wasn't happy with either of the winners, Charlotte Flair or Drew McIntyre. But it was still a fun event all the way through. It was still a good card. I understand Charlotte is kind of a safe pick. So I understand why they would choose her. And I just haven't been a fan of Drew McIntyre, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. He challenged Brock. So him versus Brock at WrestleMania. And man, you know what I just really find annoying? Because from here on out, up until WrestleMania, now we're going to get that stupid point to the sign. And it comes every year, right at Royal Rumble time, right? It's just like, why do they do this? It's just, I find that super annoying. It's like, come on, why do you guys all have to point? But, yeah, man. So we'll see how the rest of WrestleMania shapes up. Looks like we're going to get Edge versus Randy Orton. I'm assuming that's what it's going to be. Yeah, and we'll see what else they set up. Still got some time, but I think they have a good idea of what they're kind of looking for. So, yeah, Royal Rumble. It was a fun event, and it was a good time hanging out with everybody and just having good conversation, and yeah, it was a good time. So, wanted to switch gears, talk a little bit, couple music things. Mod Sun released his new music video, Kinda Like It Now, and I checked that out. It was he's definitely going in a different direction over these last couple years, and I think he's trying to find his true artistic groove, like his true influence, because he grew up on that like screamo punk kind of music. He was in bands and that kind of stuff and played drums, and now it seems like he's kind of getting back to more of that influence. And it's just interesting because I've seen the progression over the last like 7+ years, something like that. And it's not necessarily my favorite style of music from him, but it's still good. It's still like good quality music, and like I said, I think he's just trying to find his lane, his way, and I think he's figuring it out. It's I'm anxious and I'm excited to hear when the album comes out, because I wonder if it's still gonna be kind of like half and half, because now that he's sober, this album has been in the making for a while previous to that. So I wonder if he's still gonna put those old songs on, or if it's gonna be all new in this kind of style, or what. So I'm anxious to kind of hear the album when it comes out. And then along that same line, MGK and Travis Barker announced their album, Tickets to My Downfall. I'm not sure when that will be released, but I'll definitely be on the lookout for that. It's going to be like a pop punk influenced album. And yeah, I'm definitely excited to hear that. I've been a MGK fan for quite a while now. Not the biggest, but I definitely keep my ear open when he drops something. I've seen him a few times. I've seen him and Mod Sun together a couple times as well. So yeah, I just kind of like that whole scene. And MGK puts on a hell of a show. If you ever get a chance, I would definitely suggest go seeing him live, because he can go for probably 2 hours. I think it was easily an hour and a half to 2 hours when I saw him. So, and that's been a couple of years now since I have seen him, but I would definitely suggest checking him out on tour if you ever get a chance to, because he puts on a hell of a show. And that's funny because I actually saw him at Rock the Bells one year when he was just coming up, and it was interesting because Bone Thugs were playing on another stage, and then he was playing on the inside stage. Was out watching Bone Thugs for just a minute or two. They were supposed to do one of their albums all the way through, and then they started doing like some other songs and stuff. So I was like, okay, they're not doing what they said they were gonna do or what was advertised or whatever. So I went, checked out MGK, and that was a crazy show. There was a fight happening, and then he stopped the show, and then yeah, it was, and then he kept going, obviously, but he made sure to stop it and be like, hey, what the fuck's going on, like, chill. Like, he made a point to kind of like break it up and stuff. So I've been yeah, probably been to 4 something MGK shows, or seen him live like 4 times, I should say, 4 or 5 times. Seen Mod Sun like probably 7, 8, 10, 12 times, something like that. I've definitely been to a lot of Mod Sun shows, but yeah, like I said, I just really enjoy that scene. Just a big supporter of both of those guys, so I'm definitely excited to see what both of them put out soon. And yeah, so that's what's going on. Still kind of looking for work. Nothing has hit yet. Still basically looking every day. Things have been tough. I've been struggling. But I'm trying to figure it out. Trying to do what I need to do. And yeah, man. I'm just trying to go day by day. And I know I have to be consistent with this. And sometimes it just feels like I don't even want to do anything, but I know I gotta at least do something for myself. So that is where I'm at. That's what I got going on. I'm just gonna be kind of just here figuring it out. Trying to figure out the next step, trying to figure out the next move. And yeah, I appreciate you guys stopping by, checking it out. Went into a few topics. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. And until next time, everybody, peace.